Story 1. The Silent Camper. Our first tale takes us to the heart of the Blackwood Forest, a place whispered to be cursed by the locals. For 24-year-old Sarah, it was supposed to be a peaceful weekend getaway. A nature lover and experienced camper, Sarah had ventured into the forest alone, seeking solace from the chaos of her everyday life. Her hike began smoothly. She documented her journey with photos and notes in her leather-bound journal, a habit she had since childhood. As the day passed, she reached a serene lakeside clearing and decided it was the perfect spot to set up camp. The lake's calm waters reflected the fiery hues of the setting sun, and Sarah felt a rare sense of peace. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, the forest's demeanor shifted. The lively chirping of birds and rustling of leaves faded, replaced by an oppressive silence. Sarah wrote in her journal, "The forest feels alive tonight. I swear I heard someone whisper my name. It's probably just the wind." The wind, however, seemed to grow colder as the hours ticked by. Around midnight, Sarah was awakened by a faint rustling outside her tent. She froze, her breath shallow as she listened. The sound circled her tent, slow and deliberate, like someone or something was watching. Summoning her courage, she unzipped the tent and shone her flashlight outside. The beam revealed nothing but the empty clearing and the dark forest beyond. The next morning, a nearby hiker stumbled upon Sarah's campsite. The tent was intact, her belongings undisturbed, except for her journal, lying open on the ground. The last entry was chilling. "If anyone finds this, please know I tried to run. It's following me. It won't let me leave." Sarah was never seen again, leaving behind only the haunting words in her journal. In 1998, a small bus departed from Willow Creek to Maple Ridge, a routine route for the local transit company. It was a snowy evening, and the passengers, 6 strangers, settled into their seats, eager to reach their destination. The driver, a seasoned professional named Roger, knew the route well, even in adverse weather conditions. As the bus meandered through the winding mountain roads, the snowfall intensified. Roger noticed something unusual. The familiar landmarks along the route seemed to disappear into the white void. The road signs were unmarked, the turns unfamiliar. His unease grew as static crackled through the radio, followed by distorted voices that sounded almost like whispers. The passengers, too, began to notice the strange occurrences. A young woman pointed out that her watch had stopped. An elderly man remarked that his compass needle spun wildly. Tension grew, and some passengers began to argue, accusing Roger of taking a wrong turn. Roger insisted they were on the right path, but deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. Then the bus jolted to a stop. Roger stepped out to inspect the engine, only to find himself engulfed in an impenetrable fog. He turned back, but the bus was gone, vanished into the mist. 2 weeks later, the bus was discovered at the bottom of an abandoned quarry miles from its route. Inside, authorities found no signs of the passengers or the driver. The only clue was a single photograph left on a seat. It showed all 6 passengers, but their faces were blurred, as though the camera had captured something it shouldn't have. To this day, the mystery of the vanishing bus remains unsolved. Marcus Delaney was the kind of man who kept to himself. In his suburban neighborhood, he was known for his peculiar habits, watering his lawn at odd hours, never answering the door, and keeping his windows tightly shut, even on the hottest days. To his neighbor, Mrs. Collins, Marcus was an enigma. One evening, as Mrs. Collins prepared for bed, she noticed something strange. The lights in Marcus's house were flickering in an erratic pattern. Concerned, she decided to check on him. She knocked on his door, but there was no answer. The door creaked open, unlocked. Inside, the house was eerily quiet. The living room was meticulously clean, as if no one had lived there for weeks. On the coffee table sat a recording device. Mrs. Collins hesitated but pressed play. The tape emitted a low static, followed by faint whispers. She could barely make out the words. "Don't look for me. It's already too late." Mrs. Collins called the authorities, but their investigation yielded nothing. Marcus had vanished without a trace. His belongings remained untouched, and there were no signs of a struggle. The final mystery lay in the recording. Experts analyzed the tape, but couldn't explain the whispers. Some believed Marcus had uncovered something he wasn't meant to, something that came for him in the end. To this day, his house remains empty, a chilling reminder of his disappearance. Neighbors swear they sometimes see a shadow move past the windows, but when they look closer, the house is dark and silent.